They have an anime for ICE. A girl joined an ICE agent and they made an anime about it. Oh my god. Hold up, hold up.
Because this anime is incredibly relevant.
お母さん、俺アイスに入ったんだ。すごいわ、氷ちゃん。お母さん、鼻が高いわ。本当にこれでよかったのかな。みんな私が悪いって言うんだもん。アイス、武器はゆっくりだ。撃たないで、銃を離せ。怖い、毎日が怖いの。でも私はこの国を救いたい。
It's just so sad.
まずいね。
It's bad.
法令が執行されるとい
When
う
the
の
law
は
is actually enforced. They're protesting.
お母さん、知り合いが車にはねられて。
Someone I know was hit by a car. I joined ICE to save my country, but now I'm the villain.
それで彼はそうするしか。
Wow, sounds like a great anime. Going viral everywhere. Good job. I don't know who this is. What the fuck's a leaflet? But anyway, great job from this person. The reality is, ultimately, we're living in retard world. Just another day of leftist people with no principles, values, or morals beating up random people that are on the right because they fucking hate us and want us to die, while they tell us that we are the problem and we are the ones causing divisiveness and violence. You got gay furries getting arrested by ICE. You got retards on the leftist governments constantly getting humiliated wherever they go, trying to cover up crime, erecting statues of satanics, literal satanic statues. I'm not even kidding. Unbelievable amounts of fraud everywhere, and people getting attacked all over the place. And finally, tragic, heartbreaking news breaking from Dean Withers, the biggest leftist TikToker. A pedophile was strangled in a prison. I will truly sleep very well tonight. Subscribe to keep up to date with all the retards. Someone has to hold them to account, and I guess that has to be me. But it is happening. Deus Volt. God wills it. We are taking our country back. Little by little, one gay furry at a time. Bye.
I've been trying to play one of those number gate games. Is that one fake like all the other ones? This is completely real. Made by the developers because they saw all those fake ads they kept seeing all over social media, and they wanted to make a real game that wasn't fake. If you're tired of ads, this is the one you gotta try. Whew, alright, we gotta get the chocolate off of these guys. Is it chocolate or is it mud? It doesn't really matter. We gotta get that power up, so we gotta stop these red guys, build our army a little bit, stop them. They're really coming in fast. We need another power up or we're not gonna survive this. Guys, this is insane. It is so cold out here, but I have not seen an ad in 3 hours. This game is ad-free, and it plays just like the fake ads you see on social media.
Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with our first
Ladies and gentlemen, Sun Tzu Prime is finally coming to Rise of Kingdoms. I used to pray for days like these, boys. But not only are we getting Sun Tzu Prime, we are also getting Ivar the Boneless, which is the new infantry rally commander. So we're going to take a look at all of the skills for both of these commanders. And then later in the video, look at the brand new Commander Reset feature, where you can get all of your legendary commander sculptures back in the form of universal sculptures to spend on whatever commander you want, whether it's Sun Tzu Prime or somebody else later down the line. But before we jump in, of course, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Now, as you guys know, I am a sponsored partnered creator with Rise of Kingdoms, so if you want more Rise of Kingdoms content, including breaking news, definitely subscribe to the channel and click the bell to be notified the next time that we upload Rise of Kingdoms news videos. Let's take a look at the Artist of War Sun Tzu, of course, infantry, versatility, and smite. And his design was striking to me at first because I was like, man, he looks different, like what's wrong? And then I realized he is Sun Tzu Prime, in the prime of his life, so he is younger than the epic version that we've come to know and love through all these years playing Rise of Kingdoms. He doesn't have the gray hair, the gray beard. This is Giga Chad Sun Tzu, and I think his skills are going to prove that. Let's take a look here. The active skill, Fluid Formation, rage requirement 900. Alright, we are off to a fantastic start here, but single target damage? Let's read this skill to figure out, wait a minute, what's going on here, okay? This commander's troop immediately gains the military sage effect for 5 seconds and deals smite damage to target troops with a damage factor of 3000. Okay, so 900 rage requirement, 3000 single target smite damage, and you have a 5-second military sage buff. We don't know what that is, except here it goes on to explain it. Alright, when dealing smite damage to enemy troops, this commander's troop also deals 20% of this smite damage as fixed true damage to up to 2 enemy troops in a fan. This effect can be triggered up to 1 time per second. Okay, so what this means is 3000 smite damage to 1 target, and then 600 true damage to 2 other targets in a fan-shaped area. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at that and say, oh my god, true damage was so bad on Shajar, it's over, he's cooked, he's done, he's dead. Guys, let's use a little bit of context clues here for a second, okay? What do you think the odds are that Sun Tzu Prime is not going to be meta? What do you think the odds are that Sun Tzu Prime is going to be Shajar? Like, let's be real, Shajar walked so Sun Tzu Prime could run. I have a feeling this is going to be really good, especially because here's the best part, right? This is a buff to your army for 5 seconds, okay? What does that mean? Any other smite damage that you deal is also going to deal true damage. So all of a sudden, and I could be wrong here, but we'll take a look, it looks like Sun Tzu is going to convert whoever he's with to dealing true damage in AoE fashion, which means he literally is going to make William Wallace an AoE commander. I mean, that is my initial reading of this, unless I'm wrong about something. Now, as you guys know, it says right here, true damage in addition to ignoring the attacking troops' attack and also defending troops' defense. Fixed true damage calculation is also not affected by buffs or debuff effects. Okay, so true True damage is the weirdest type of damage out of all of them. Basically, its perk is that it can't be debuffed or nerfed or anything like that. The downside is that you can't buff it using, you know, skill damage buff, smite damage buff, whatever the case might be. Let's read the rest of his kit first here, okay? War for Peace. Infantry units gain 25% march speed. If this commander is in a field troop, their infantry units gain 20% health, 30% attack. This is a fantastic stat distribution. This is probably the best stat distribution I could have asked for. The only thing better would have been 30% health, 20% attack or something like that, but realistically, this is fantastic, right? I mean, this is 50% of stats. That is exactly in line with what we would expect from a current generation commander, but 25% march speed means that he is going to be even faster than pretty much any other infantry commander on the field except for Alexander the Great. Like, that's the only exception. Otherwise, Sun Tzu Prime is going to be flying on the battlefield, and this is exactly what infantry needed. I almost don't even care about the last two skills and expertise, because this is, I mean, this is what we needed. We needed a way to make William Wallace not garbage. I know people are going to hate me in the comment section for that. I know you like using with Baichi, but now he's finally going to have a good pair. Not an acceptable pair, a good pair. Let's move on, okay? Surprise Strike. If this commander's in a field troop, infantry units gain 20% defense, even more stats, okay? Insane. Also, if the military sage effect is active, this commander's troop deals 10% more smite damage and has a 50% chance of dealing an instance of smite damage for every basic attack with a damage factor of 400. This effect can be triggered up to once every 3 seconds. Oh my god, wait a minute. So wait, are we going to be pairing him with Liu Che, actually? Wait, what? Because the expertise on Liu Che gives you effectively a one combo attack, which is an extra basic attack, but also there's a 3-second cooldown here, and the buff is only for 5 seconds, so maybe pairing with Liu Che might trigger this one extra time in this time frame. But actually, now that I think about it, that might be a bit overkill. I'm still leaning towards the William Wallace pairing already. I think that's the way to go. 10% more smite damage being locked to the military sage effect kind of sucks because it's only for 5 seconds, right? But the fact that you get this when your active skill procs means that you're gonna get the 10% smite damage for the active skills of both commanders, because you'll have 10% smite damage for 5 seconds. That's really, I mean, that's when you want it anyway, so that's really nice. I would like it to be all the time, but really, like, we're already talking about a commander who has good rage requirement and has a unique ability to, like, create AoE true damage, and he's faster, he's got more stats. It's hard to complain about this being conditional to 5 seconds during the buff window. Let's move on to the next skill. This commander's troop takes 10% less damage. Wow, okay, just across the board, 10% less all damage. I love to see that. Gains 20 extra rage for every one enemy troop that takes fixed true damage from the military sage effect. Has a 100% chance to deal 2% more damage for the next 5 seconds whenever gaining rage from the Myriad Maneuvers effect. This effect can stack up to 5 times, and its duration resets whenever it gains another stack. Okay, let's break this down here. First of all, I love how they've kind of done an homage to the original Sun Tzu, right? Remember, Epic Sun Tzu's active skill is a rage engine. When he hits multiple targets, he gains rage, right? We're seeing they built that into this skill here, which is fantastic. So we still have a rage engine on Sun Tzu Prime, which is insane, okay? So here we can see that this deals true damage to up to 2 enemies in a fan, and so you can gain a total of 40 rage from each, you know, skill shot, basically. And then is this a stacking all damage, right? It can't be. This has got to be just 2% more damage for the true damage, right? That's what I'm assuming here. Or maybe it is all damage. I don't know. 100% chance to deal 2% more damage for 5 seconds. Oh, no, it can't. It's got to be all damage. Okay, so we can get up to 10% all damage stacked here as well. If you get, you know, 2 true damage from the primary, 2 true damage from the secondary, that's 4 times 2 is 8% all damage for 5 seconds, and then it's gonna drop off, right? But it does reset when it gains another stack, so I don't know. I'm curious about the uptime of this, like, just with the timing and everything. Like, you might need to get an instant proc smite damage on top of the active skills to really get that max 10%, but we'll have to wait and see when he comes to the game. Let's take a look at the expertise. This commander's troop immediately get, oh, so this is a buff of the active skill. Oh my god. god. Okay, this commander's troop immediately gains the military stage effect for 5 seconds, deals 3,000 smite damage. Okay, so none of that has changed here. When dealing smite damage to enemy troops, this commander's troop also deals 30% of this smite damage as fixed true damage to up to 2 enemy troops in a fan. This effect can trigger 1 time per second. Okay, so they've literally just bumped it from 20 to 30%. So instead of 600 damage, it's 900 damage, right? Which is just insane. I mean, my god. Okay, this is, I think, this could be a must-have commander. I mean, look, let's be real here. 3,000 single target damage kind of sucks, right? Like, let's just be honest, it kind of sucks. But a low rage requirement is amazing. I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first infantry commander ever to have a lower rage requirement. And then on top of that, if the military sage effect works the way that I think it works, I think we're going to be able to turn smite damage into AoE damage when you're pairing him with somebody like William Wallace, right? I'm curious to know, what if you do pair him with an AoE commander like Liu Che? It says, when dealing smite damage to enemy troops, this commander troop also deals up to 30% of the smite damage as fixed true damage to up to 2. So can you like turn a Liu Che's 5 target AoE into like 10 target true damage, right? Almost like a scatter shot in a way. Now, Rise of Kingdoms also posted a video on their YouTube channel showing off Sun Tzu Prime, and in the video, they show him with William Wallace, okay? So I feel like I'm on the right track here with how this works, but it says here, single target skill with AoE true damage. Okay, let's see how this actually works. Okay, so there's the active skill animation of Sun Tzu Prime. He just puts his staff out, and then he points at the person that's gonna get obliterated here, okay? And let's see, he deals 20,000. I think it looks like the initial shot is 20,000, and then we've got 1,800 as the true damage after, and then we see William Wallace deals 14,000, and we see another 1,735. Okay, 1,738 would have been perfect with Fetty Wap coming out of jail, but anyway, if you know, you know. Regardless, it does look okay. We see another 2,100 here. Okay, so yeah, we just saw 3 hits of true damage and 2 smite damage shots, or maybe we just saw the extra 300 damage factor on our boy William Wallace here. But either way, this does confirm that Sun Tzu Prime's active skill will turn William Wallace's single target damage into AoE, right? So that's big news. We finally, this is basically buffing William Wallace as well. Kind of insane stuff here to think about. Now, before we move on to Ivar the Boneless, if you've made it this far into the video, consider dropping a thumbs up. It really does help out the channel. But also, it's important to know that Sun Tzu Prime is also going to be available for free to unlock when he lands in the game. Okay, this is the Skilled Stratagems event. As you can see, you need 30 of these scrolls, and you can exchange up to 10 sculptures of Sun Tzu Prime. Okay, so if we press play on the video for a second, it literally just says free Prime Sun Tzu. Okay, so however you get these scrolls, there should be a way to get at least 300 scrolls for free just by playing the game or doing the events or whatever the case might be. Hopefully it's not too hard to get him. We've got the Weathered Insight event, okay? I don't know how you're going to be able to do this, whether this is going to be similar to like the event with Emperor Qin, for example, where you do like the conquering the stages or the conquering of the maps, basically. I know a lot of people like that. I kind of liked that event, but it did take a while to really get used to it. Maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know. So, okay, just to recap, Sun Tzu Prime is an AoE smite true damage hybrid with a low rage requirement, fantastic stats, literally 70% of stats, 25% march speed. You can unlock him for free, and there's going to be a commander reset event, which we'll talk about later in the video. This is effectively everything that infantry needed, and possibly even more, because it makes William Wallace even better, right? So this is a big day for infantry mains who may have been regretting their investments into William Wallace.
Did you say ice anime, nigga? What is the world we moving to, dog?
Yeah, nice anime. Girl told her mom she joined that. She's like, I'm proud of you. Next scene is her capping somebody. destroying the carpet, motherfucker. Smells like straight shit in here.
Here's 5 reasons why you should log into your old Clash account. Number 1, while you've been away, your base auto-upgraded itself for however long you were inactive for, meaning your base could be ready to move on up to the next town.
I actually now have a pair for him, okay? And I love how that video kind of just literally said it. Like, yeah, just pair it with William Wallace. I hope Cavalry mains enjoyed being meta for about 6 weeks, because that was quick. Anyway, let's move on to Ivar the Boneless. I love his helmet. I kind of wish he was wearing it, though, because, I don't know, I just feel like we don't have enough commanders that are just actually rocking their gear, you know what I mean? But anyway, infantry conquering defense. Pain is my greatest weapon. Okay, he sounds like an emo middle schooler, but let's take a look here. Oh my god, AoE smite damage. It's over. Okay. 1,000 rage requirement. Deal smite damage to up to 3 enemy troops in a fan with damage factor of 2,500. Every additional target reduces the damage by 15% for the next 3 seconds. This commander's troop gains 15 rage per second. Wow. As a rally commander. Wow, that is crazy. Oh my god, no way. Wait a minute. Look at his stats, boys. This commander's infantry units gain 10% health, 20% march speed, 30% attack. They finally listened. They listened to me. Oh my god. I'm just kidding. They didn't listen to me specifically. It just so happens to be the case that what they've done is they've put stats on this commander that are not locked behind him being in a rally, okay? So you can get all these stats in the open field as an open field commander. That is big news, especially considering a 3-target 2,500 AoE with a rage buff is kind of insane. This is looking really good so far. Let's see what the rest of the skills say. When attacking cities or strongholds, this commander's troop deals 20% more smite damage. Infantry units in this commander's troop deal 10% more damage against cavalry, and this commander's troop has a 50% chance to gain 30 extra rage when dealing smite damage. This effect can only be triggered once per second. Wow. Crazy rage engines on this guy. Really good stuff here. Taking a look at the 4th skill, if this commander is leading a rally attack, 1, their rallied army takes 10% less combo attack damage. Wow. Directly countering the cavalry here. 2, deals an instance of smite damage to the attacker when their rallied army is hit with a basic attack with a damage factor of 200. If this received attack is part of a combo attack, their rallied army gains a 10% bonus to all damage for the next 3 seconds. This effect can be triggered for up to 7 times per second. This effect can be only triggered once by 1 enemy troop per second with a 2-second cooldown. So this is just anti-swarm, right? I mean, if you swarm him, not only are you going to take the counterattack damage, you're also going to be taking extra smite damage, and if any of the people swarming this rally is dealing combo damage to it, you're just going to buff the rally, right? So, yeah, really crazy stuff. I do feel like the meta needed an anti-swarm rally, so, I mean, that seems like this is it. Expertise says this commander's troop takes 10% less normal damage. Wow, just across the board, that's crazy. If remaining units are below 50%, then their troop takes an additional 5% less normal damage. Okay, so, yeah, really a bit of tankiness here. We have a bit of anti-swarm. We have a ton of stats here. We have we got a rage engine, we got AoE. I don't, with these last 2 skills, they're both in rallies only, so really, you get the 1st skill, 2nd skill, and expertise. Those work in the field, everything else is rally only. Is that enough to make him field viable? Probably not, but I mean, the march speed is nice. As a budget build, you might be able to use him, like, unironically, maybe, right? Maybe. I think this is the closest to that we could use in the open field for a rally commander or garrison commander that we've seen in a long time. I know a lot of people use David, but he doesn't have any march speed. Here we see march speed, right? So, I mean, he actually, unironically, might be a good budget build in the open field, but really, the people that should be maxing him are the, rally leaders. Okay, now let's cover a couple of extra things, including the Commander Reset event, okay? First of all, we've got the Sage and Sagacity event. I don't know if I said that right, but either way, this is another way you can get your hands on Sun Tzu Prime sculptures for $5. Unfortunately, you have to actually spend to unlock this track. I really wish they would have done the free sculptures and then, the $5 one on top of that, but either way, $5 gets you 20 sculptures plus all the goodies in these next 2 tracks. I think the $5 is a no-brainer spend, and then for $10 you get 10 more sculptures of Sun Tzu Prime and all of these goodies here. Again, I think for me that'll probably be worth it, but after that I'm not really sure, right? They actually don't show it all here. There's more off to the side, but we'll have to wait and see if this comes to come into the game. This is nothing really new, right? Okay, now let's talk about the Commander Reset event, the Rites of Renewal. Okay, so as you can see, this is a 6-day event. During the event, you may spend gems to reset all skills for 1 legendary commander of your choice. All materials used to upgrade this commander's skills will be refunded, okay? So just the sculptures, nothing else. It says upgrade this commander's skills, okay? So just commander sculptures. You're not getting back stars, you're not getting back, you know, experience tunes or anything like that. Just the sculptures here. Here we can see an expertise to Charles Martel. He's level 30. Everything is unlocked here. So I'm glad they showed Charles Martel. What that means is you can use gold key commanders, right? Now, there might be some restrictions in terms of you can't use gathering commanders, right? I mean, if you can use gathering commanders, my Ishida is getting sent to the incinerator immediately, right? Of course Ishida is going into the garbage. Why would I pick anybody else, right? Forget Ishida, I don't need him. But assuming you can't use gatherers, and you probably can't use Ethelfled, and you probably can't use Minamoto, right? Using a gold key commander is probably the play here, and we have confirmed that you can do that. Now, here is the point of contention where a lot of people are upset about this, okay? And let's talk about this, all right? Skill reset. You have selected this commander to reset skills, and the following materials will be refunded. Confirming this reset will consume gems, with every legendary commander sculpture return costing 100 gems. So here you can see that because Martel was expertise, he had 690 sculptures invested into him, it cost 69,000 gems. Let's think about this logically. Do you guys remember when the commander swap event was first revealed and we didn't know what the cost was? You guys remember? OGs are gonna remember. This was a little over a year ago, I think, and I made a video saying, like, you know, even if this was 50,000 gems, it's a no-brainer, it's insanely good value, right? And everyone got mad at me because they're like, oh my god, that's so expensive.
How you guys doing?
Not bad, how are you doing?
Chilling. Playing some Palworld.
Sounds fun.
Palworld's still a thing?
For me it is.
Never played it.
They're about to do another update. I love it. I'm just playing it right now to prove to Nintendo that it's better than their game.
It is.
They don't get it. Pokemon had so much opportunity, but that time has come and gone.
You're tanky as fuck.
What y'all playing?
TFT.
Interesting.
That was my line, not yours. Beat the fuck up.
Shadow gave me his computer, and I can't even play League of Legends on it.
Oof. So you need a new one.
It's the operating system. He had Linux on it.
Really?
Yeah, and League of
I don't know
Legends.
anybody that has fucking Linux.
League of Legends only for Windows and Apple.
I'll get you with the controller in your hand. Is that a wedding ring?
This is my right hand.
Okay. To be fair, camera's a bit flipped.
Nah, it's not a wedding ring.
Well, let's be honest, I'm married to that cat.
I guess you want to say hi. Get down. Get down.
No.
Get down.
No. No.
Get down. Get down. Motherfucker. Yo. Chill.
Second you started feeling a little good, you were out drinking. Yeah. What kind of medicine have you been taking? Even once you're better, you still take medicine. Are you going to go to Starbucks tomorrow? Drink the Shaylee's told you to get? Maybe. Should.
Palworld.
Sorry. I got a short memory right now.
You say you got a what?
I got a short memory right now.
Oh,
Just get a long one.
probably better than mine.
Yeah, let me start drinking water. Maybe I'll start having water memory.
Sounds good. I'm looking for these predator monsters right now. They're so hard to find because the map that I have is literally blurry and bullshit.
Shaylee, you go to bed.
Probably whenever y'all go to bed, I'm going to bed.
Bitch, I'll stay up. I'll stay up.
So I'll
Until
stay
I-
up here.
And then until I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'll fucking drink extra caffeine thing. We can start watching a show quick fast for a little bit while you don't notice. So you don't have to work at all tomorrow, other than just the fact that you have to, or you kind of want to catch up.
Just want to finish up a project.
You want to go stop by that store that Jose took me to the other day?
No, that shit's out of the way. And I'm broke as fuck. I need to figure out how to pay my rent.
Okay. There's one here. Why you take the look on? I was gonna take it from you, but I changed my mind.
You want to see me film?
No, I literally let you have the fucking look on.
You want to see me film?
I want to see you succeed because you being a higher rank means more to me than anything. Is it? This is casual shit.
This is casual.
Oh. Josh thinks he is reasonable, right?
He does need to do placement matches and get into silver so he can play with us.
Remember, if you're in silver, you're the same rank as Kate. Josh, you have to be Shaylee here. You have to.
Nope, he went. Lazy.
Told ya. Josh is just built different. Josh is better. Josh is better at everything he touches. Except handling his ketamine and alcohol. I think he's muted. Doesn't he know it? Yep.
I literally had a fucking. I got so much in my whole series.
Oh, what the fuck?
I didn't mean to. I fucking. That was terrible. You guys.
You're fine. You're not fine.
Nah.
Don't worry, Shaylee dies here too.
Dude, I lost pretty bad.
No, Shaylee wins hard. Maybe. I don't know. Doric is not going to die. Yeah, you win.
Let's go.
Ugh,
Oh,
that was close.
yeah, fourth.
Oh my god, I'm at 2 HP.
Shaylee dies here.
Yeah, I do. He doesn't get to do a finisher on me. Alright. Well, good night, I guess, y'all.
You're
Catch
going
y'all
to
later.
Shaylee.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go lay down and watch the TV. Dude, you're
Later.
waking up in like 6 hours. Good night, y'all.
Alright, good night. Love you guys.
Good night. These fishes are ass. You know what I'm saying, Minion? Some ass fishes. I might as well stop wasting my bait. Yeah, I'm out of here. Ow, ow, ow. That shit hurts, bro. You're digging into my skin with your fucking nails. I can't find this wolf predator. I don't even think he exists. Where are you, Wolfie? Leave my controller alone, dog. What, you got beef with the controller? I'm gonna touch the controller more than you, so you can be as mad as you want. Oh, there they are, finally.
I'll just say, look, watch, see? Mimasu. Mimasu. Do you remember how to say lesson here? Kikimasu. Kikimasu. And do you remember how to say speak, talk? Hanashimasu. Hanashimasu. Do you remember how to say write? Kakimasu. Kakimasu. And how to say read? Yomimasu. Yomimasu. Do you remember how to say do? Shimasu. Shimasu.
Great. So in this lesson, you learned 10 common Japanese verbs that you can use to talk about daily life, and you learned a key grammar pattern that you can use to make your own sentences. I hope that this was helpful for you. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, or if you want to practice making some example sentences, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you again soon. Bye! Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about how to make basic comparisons in Japanese. Let's get started. Okay, first let's take a look at the focus pattern for this lesson. The focus pattern is A wa B yori keiyoshi desu. So, A is a noun or a noun phrase. B is also a noun or a noun phrase. And keiyoshi means adjective. So we need to choose an adjective to finish our comparative statement. Let's take a look at some examples and then we'll talk about what's happening in these sentences. First one is Kyoto wa Nara yori ookii desu. Kyoto wa Nara yori ookii desu. This sentence means Kyoto marker. Oi means a lot of something. So this is actually kind of a phrase, lots of rain, yeah? So when we pair this with yori, rainy, or lots of rain, it becomes rainier. This is how we can understand it in English. So Seattle is rainier than London. So yes, in English, we follow the first noun with our comparative adjective, and then the second noun. In Japanese, the order is different. We have noun A, wa, noun B, yori, and then our comparative expression. Let's see this in a dialogue then. Two people are talking here. Person A says, Matsuyama wa chisai desu ka? Matsuyama wa chisai desu ka? Is Matsuyama small? Chisai means small. B says, Ma, Tokyo yori chisai desu. Ma, Tokyo yori chisai desu. Well, it's smaller than Tokyo. So in this dialogue, the same pattern is broken into two parts. We could understand this as meaning Matsuyama wa Tokyo yori chisai desu. We could understand person B's reply as this full sentence.
TikTok ads changed everything for us. We've generated over 100,000 leads, which has converted into over 40,000 sales for our pet insurance policies. My name is Trey Farrow. I am the CEO of Spot Pet Insurance. TikTok's Smart Plus AI-powered automation takes the guesswork out of targeting, bidding, and optimizing creative. Having an app like TikTok has been great to target your Gen Zs, your millennials, your older crowd, using different creatives for each kind of demographic. If I can advertise on TikTok, you can too.
Ancient civilizations used the guacamole to predict the winners of their ball games. I see a strong start. The dip. Fourth quarter comeback. Could just be me coming back to this ball under 5 minutes. Football and guac, so predictably good.
Chisai, chisai, small or little. Samui, samui, cold. And hito ga oi, hito ga oi. Just like with few people, hito ga oi is hito, person or people. Ga, subject marker. Oi, many or lots. Many people. So this is how we make basic adjective comparative sentences in Japanese.
Please do your best to use the following wording. Do you remember how to say
directions in Japanese. Let's get started. Okay, let's start by looking at the dialogue for this lesson. The first line in the dialogue is this. 図書館はどこですか? 図書館はどこですか? Where is the library? The response is まっすぐ行ってください。それから交差点を右に曲がってください。図書館は左にあります。So at faster pace, まっすぐ行ってください。それから交差点を右に曲がってください。図書館は左にあります。This means go forward and then turn right at the intersection. The library will be on the left. Let's take a look at some more examples of this and break down the parts of the sentence. Okay, great. So let's look at a breakdown of these direction-related sentences and look at some more examples. First, let's take a look in depth at the dialogue. The dialogue begins with a basic question. Where is the library? Notice this question starts with the location we're looking for, 図書館, library. Then the answer begins with the first direction, まっすぐ行ってください. So まっすぐ means go straight, and then 行ってください is a polite way of saying go ahead. So まっすぐ行ってください. We want to translate this directly would mean please go straight. We follow this with それから, which means and then or after that. 交差点を右に曲がってください. So here we have our next kind of point, our key point, our location that we need to use for reference purposes. 交差点 means intersection. So 交差点を右に曲がってください. 右 means right. So we have our two direction words here. まっすぐ go straight. 右 right. And then later on we have 図書館は左にあります. 図書館 so library は左にあります. 左 means left. So we have our three direction words in this sample sentence. So let's take a look at some more examples and see how we can shift these words around. So, for example, in this sentence we have 左に行ってください. 左に行ってください. So 左 means left. It's in the same position as まっすぐ行ってください was in this example. 左に行ってください. それから after that, 交差点を左に曲がってください. 銀行は右にあります. So, in this sentence, we're looking for 銀行, so the bank. In this case, we've replaced 図書館, which we had in the first example, with 銀行. So, we simply put 銀行, or the place that we're looking for in this position in the sentence. In this case, we're giving a reply for the direction. So, one more time. 左に行ってください. それから交差点を左に曲がってください. 銀行は右にあります. So, 銀行は右にあります means the bank is on the right. You'll notice this pattern right here. 右にあります, or in this case, 左にあります. This is how we say it's on the left, or it's on the right. So in English, we use that preposition on in this sentence, right? 左にあります is the pattern that we use. It's on the left, and 右にあります for it's on the right. Let's take a look at one more example sentence then. まっすぐ行ってください. それから交差点を右に曲がってください. 区役所は左にあります. So again we have go straight to begin the direction. まっすぐ行ってください. Then we have それから after that 交差点を右に曲がってください. Turn right at the intersection. Finally, 区役所は左にあります. 区役所 in this case, 区役所 means city hall. So, 区役所は左にあります. One more point that you should consider when you're giving directions is this right here. 交差点を. In all of these example sentences, you see 交差点を. So, we don't want to use に as we're doing here. 左にあります. We're using 交差点を in this case. So, 交差点を左に曲がって. 交差点を右に曲がって. So that's another point to watch out for. Be careful of these little particles. Okay, so with the sentence breakdowns done, and with these example sentences in our mind, let's take a look at the basic pattern for this lesson. Okay, great. Let's take a look at the basic pattern for this lesson. The basic pattern to reply to someone's request for directions is direction 言ってください. So, direction here means go straight, left, or right. So, direction 言ってください. This means go direction. So, go straight, go left, or go right. 言ってください. So, this is a more polite way to say go in that direction. Kind of like saying go straight, please, or go left, please, or go right, please. Then the follow-up to this is それから place を right, left に曲がってください. So, in this follow-up, we're saying after that, after this first direction, next location. So this can be another building, it can be an intersection, whatever. Place を right or left, depending on the direction, に曲がってください. This 曲がってください means turn. So this comes from the verb 曲がる, yeah? So 曲がってください means please turn. Please turn right or left at this place. それから place を right or left に曲がってください. And then turn right or left at the place. Okay? Then we have the location, the final location. Place は right, left にあります. So, place, the location, the actual destination, は right or left depending on the street, right or left にあります. So, the place that you're looking for will be on the right or on the left. Great. Finally, let's take a look at some key vocabulary words that you can use with this pattern to make your own directions. Okay, lastly, let's take a look at the key vocabulary for this lesson. In this lesson, we talked about two different categories of vocabulary. We talked about direction words and place words. Let's review the direction words first. First, we have まっすぐ, まっすぐ, which means forward or straight. まっすぐ. Note, in this word, we have a stop, so not まっすぐ, but まっすぐ, まっすぐ. Make sure you have kind of that stop or that breath in the middle of the word. So not まっすぐ, まっすぐ, まっすぐ. This means forward or straight. Next, we have left, 左, 左. This means left. We saw this in 左に曲がってください. Please turn left. On the other hand, we have 右, 右, right. We saw this in 右に曲がってください. Please turn right. So these are our direction-related words for this lesson. Now let's take a look at our place words. So we saw some of these in the dialogue and the example sentences. Let's review. First is 図書館, 図書館. 図書館 means library. We saw this in the first example sentence. 図書館はどこですか? Where is the library? Next is 交差点, 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 交差点. This means intersection, intersection. So we talked about turning right or turning left at the intersection. 交差点. Next is コーヒーショップ, コーヒーショップ. These have long sounds here, so not コーヒー, but コーヒーショップ, コーヒーショップ, which means coffee shop, coffee shop, maybe your destination. コーヒーショップはどこですか? The next word is 区役所, 区役所, 区役所. 区役所 means city hall, city hall, or you might also see it translated as ward office, 区役所. Finally, we have 信号, 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 信号. 信号 means traffic light or traffic signal. So we can use all of these to give directions and to ask about certain destinations in the city.
Do you remember how to say forward? まっすぐ, まっすぐ. And how to say go, as in go forward. 行ってください, 行ってください. Do you remember how to say go forward? まっすぐ行ってください, まっすぐ行ってください. And how to say right? 右, 右. Do you remember how to say turn, as in turn right? And how to say turn right? Do you remember how to say intersection? 交差点 交差点 And how to say turn right at the intersection? 交差点を右に曲がってください。交差点を右に曲がってください。Do you remember how to say and then? それから、それから。And how to say and then turn right at the intersection? それから交差点を右に曲がってください。それから交差点を右に曲がってください。Do you remember how to say left? 左、左。And how to say will be on the left? 左にあります。左にあります。Do you remember how to say library? 図書館、図書館。And how to say the library will be on the left? 図書館は左にあります。図書館は左にあります。Do you remember how to say coffee shop? コーヒーショップ、コーヒーショップ。And how to say city hall? 区役所、区役所。Do you remember how to say traffic light? 信号、信号。
Great! Now you know how to give simple directions in Japanese. We hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Also, don't forget to check us out at JapanesePod101.com for some other things that can help you with your Japanese studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson. Janet! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about using common adverbs of frequency to talk about your daily habits in Japanese. Okay, let's begin by looking at the vocabulary that we're going to use in this lesson. On this side of the board is this bar graph. The idea with this graph is to give you an idea of the differences in frequency between these adverbs. So for this lesson, let's imagine that this is a scale of days. So from 0 days in a week to 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 7 days a week. We're going to look at different adverbs of frequency that you can use to express the scale around the 4 to 5 day mark. The next one is kidoki. Kidoki, sometimes. Kidoki. So sometimes is a little bit less than often. Following that is amari. Amari. Amari means seldom. Seldom. So something you don't do very often. And finally, at the end of the scale, over here at the 0 day point, let's start with this short exchange here. So the first person says, 朝ごはんを食べますか? 朝ごはんを食べますか? Which means, do you eat breakfast? 朝ごはんを食べますか? The response is, はい、毎日食べます。はい、毎日食べます. Which means, yes, I eat breakfast every day. In this sentence, 毎日 in red is the adverb of frequency. This one means every day. So the response is yes, every day I eat, quite literally. So let's take a look next at some other example sentences that use different adverbs of frequency. Alright, let's take a look at a couple of other example sentences that use adverbs of frequency. First, 時々音楽を聴きます。時々音楽を聴きます. In this sentence, the adverb of frequency is here. 時々, sometimes. This sentence means, I sometimes listen to music. 時々音楽を聴きます. You'll notice the verb at the end of this sentence is positive. 聴きます, 聴きます. Let's compare this to the next example sentence. あんまりコーヒーを飲みません。あんまりコーヒーを飲みません. In this sentence, the adverb of frequency is here, あんまり, which means seldom. This sentence means, I seldom drink coffee. Note in this sentence, the verb is in the negative form. 飲みません、飲みません。あんまりコーヒーを飲みません. In this sentence, the verb at the end was positive. We're going to talk about why in the next section when we look at the grammar. Okay, now let's take a look at the grammar patterns you need to know to make sentences like these. There are two patterns. One uses positive and one uses negative verb forms. Let's look at the positive verb form pattern first. You use this positive verb form pattern when your adverb is one of these. いつも、よく、普段、時々、たまに、毎日. So we didn't talk about 普段 and たまに in this lesson. We didn't use them in the focus vocabulary section, but they are commonly used. You can think of 普段 as something like usually, and たまに as something like occasionally or every once in a while. The point is, when you use one of these adverbs of frequency to express your idea, you need to use the positive verb form. So this means something, must. So this indicates you need to use the verb in the positive form. It can be polite or it can be casual form. That's up to you. Depends on who you're talking to. But make sure you use the positive verb form when you use one of these adverbs. For example, we saw that up here in 時々音楽を聴きます, the positive form. Then, the negative form. When you use one of these adverbs of frequency, あんまり or 全然, you need to use the negative verb form. So something, ません if you're using the polite form. If you're using the non-polite form or the casual form, that's also okay, but just make sure that you use the negative. We saw this in this example sentence here. あんまりコーヒーを飲みません. So we use the negative because we use this adverb of frequency. So when you're building your own sentences, make sure you consider which adverb of frequency you're going to use and check to make sure your verb form matches. A quick and easy way to remember the pattern to use or to remember the order of words is this. You can imagine I here for your subject if you're making a sentence about your everyday life. I plus your adverb here plus your verb phrase. So you can put these three elements together, subject, adverb, verb phrase, to make a sentence like these.
Do you remember how to say every day? 毎日 毎日 and how to say eat? 食べます食べます Do you remember how to say I eat every day?
lifetime account. Just click the link in the description. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to use greetings and parting expressions in Japanese. Okay, let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. We've grouped the vocabulary according to time of day. So let's start with expressions you can use in the morning. First, we have Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. This is a polite expression that means good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning. The shorter version is Ohayo. Ohayo. This means morning. So it sounds a little shorter in English, just as it sounds shorter in Japanese. Ohayo gozaimasu to sound polite. Ohayo to sound more casual, close to simple. We use these expressions in the morning, very early morning until probably 11 or just before noon. So use these to greet someone in the morning. If it's later in the day, you can simply use konnichiwa, 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 konnichiwa. This means hello. Use this throughout the day. Anytime the sun is up later in the day, you can use this. Finally, at the end of the day, we use this expression. Konbanwa, 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 konbanwa. This means good evening, good evening. So use this when you meet someone in the evening, or I suppose late at night, depending on what you're up to. If it's dark outside, you can use konbanwa with confidence. So let's take a look at the other side of this image. Let's look at parting expressions. You'll notice there's a big group here because we don't really have parting expressions that are connected so closely to time of day. Let's take a look. First, shitsurei shimasu. Shitsurei shimasu. This is a very formal way to say goodbye. You might hear this at work when you're leaving a room. Your coworkers might use this as well. This means goodbye. We typically don't use this with our friends and family members. It sounds quite polite. You can use this expression, mata ashita, mata ashita, mata ashita. See you tomorrow. Mata ashita. You can use this one. It's very easy for many people. Bye bye, bye bye. So, as you can imagine, this just means bye bye. It's very casual and sounds a little childish, but many people like to use this, especially with close friends and family members. Bye bye. Next is ja, mata. Ja, mata. So this is a very casual expression, which means see you. Ja, mata. So you can think of it as like, okay, see you then. Super short, super quick, very casual. Finally is this one. Matane. 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 So this also means see you or see you next time or see you again soon. This ne makes it a little bit softer than something like ja, mata, which sounds a little bit rougher. So you can use all of these expressions to say goodbye to someone at any time of day. The last vocabulary word here is this one. Oyasumi nasai. Oyasumi nasai. Oyasumi nasai. Oyasumi nasai means good night. So use it to say good night at the end of the day. You can use this with friends and family members. So this is how we say goodbye or good night at many different times of day and how we greet each other. Let's take a look at a dialogue now and some other points that use these expressions. Okay, let's take a look at a sample dialogue that uses some of these expressions. Let's imagine two people are saying hello in the morning. The first person might say, Ohayo gozaimasu, good morning. And the other person might say, Ohayo, morning. So this is a very typical morning exchange. Ohayo gozaimasu, Ohayo. Simple as that. Okay, let's finish this lesson by taking an in-depth look at the key expressions used. First, let's take a look at greetings. As mentioned earlier, the expression Ohayo gozaimasu is more polite than just Ohayo. We use Ohayo with friends and family and people we're close to. Ohayo gozaimasu is something you would probably use at work or maybe at school. This gozaimasu makes the expression polite. You'll see this throughout your studies. Using the polite form of a verb at the ending increases the level of politeness. We don't have this with konnichiwa or with maybe we're speaking to a very, very small child. So it's up to you to choose the expression that best matches your feeling when you're saying goodbye to someone.
Do you remember how to say good morning? Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. And how to say morning? Ohayo. Ohayo. Do you remember how to say hello? Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. And how to say good evening? Konbanwa. Konbanwa. Do you remember how to say good night? Oyasuminasai. Oyasuminasai. And how to say goodbye? Do you remember how to say see you tomorrow? Mata ashita. Mata ashita. And how to say bye bye? Bye bye. Bye bye. Do you remember how to say see you? Ja mata. Ja mata. And how to say see you next time? Mata ne. Mata ne.
Great, that's it for this lesson. In this video, you learned how to use greetings and parting expressions.
5 reasons why you should log into your old Clash account. Number 1, while you've been away, your base auto-upgraded itself for however long you were inactive for, meaning your base could be ready to move on up to the next town hall. Number 2, troop training times have been completely removed, so you can clash forever and fill those resources quicker. Number 3, upgrade times at the lower town halls have been drastically reduced to accompany returning players getting the upgrades done faster. Number 4, the game is very free-to-play friendly with free events, chests, and tons of magic items. Number 5, you can finally remove obstacles without your builders.
Whoa, they put me in charge of the entire country's military. Okay, my first directive, I can choose one of these. Let's start with an alliance. Uh-oh, France is in trouble. Well, not my problem right now. Let's ignore it. Oh no, that's bad. A huge miscalculation. Poor performance on my end. Okay, no more mistakes. Time to go on the offensive. Yes, now that's what I'm talking about. This is going.
Five is go. Go. 6 is doku. Doku. 7 is nana. Nana. 8 is hachi. Hachi. And 9 is kyu. Kyu. So you might know a couple other words for numbers, like with 4 or 7, but when you're giving your phone number, you need to use these vocabulary words. So next we're going to look at a dialogue that uses these numbers to give your phone number. Okay, let's take a look at the dialogue for this lesson. First we have this question. 電話番号は何番ですか? 電話番号は何番です か? 電話番号は何番ですか? Which means, what's your phone number? 電話番号は何番ですか? The response here is 私の電話番号は070-0999-4198です。So again, 私の電話番号は070-0999-4198です。Which means, my phone number is 070-0999-4198. Let's look at some more examples. Okay, let's take a look at some example responses that use this pattern. First example sentence here. 私の電話番号は070-0529-4888です。私の電話番号は070-0529-4888です。Which means, my phone number is 070-0529-4888. Let's go to the next example. 私の電話番号は080-0788-7587です。Once more. 私の電話番号は080-0788-7587です。Which means, my phone number is 080-0788-7587. This part, at native speed, might sound something like 私の電話番号は something 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 です。Okay, so now let's look at the basic pattern that you can use to express your own phone number in Japanese. Okay, let's take a look at the basic pattern you can use to express your own phone number in Japanese. It's 私の電話番号は phone number です。私の電話番号は phone number です。Let's break this down. 私の means my. 電話番号 phone number は which marks our topic. Then we have phone number and this at the end, meaning is. So this makes my phone number is phone number. 私の電話番号は phone number です。Okay, let's cover one quick cultural point related to giving your phone number. When you give your phone number, or when someone else gives their phone number, you might hear no being used. These dashes in the phone number are sometimes read as no. They kind of help the listener understand where the spaces between the numbers are. So if you hear no used when someone gives you their phone number, that's what this means.
Do you remember how to say 0? 0. 0. And how to say 1? 1. 1. Do you remember how to say 2? 2. 2. And how to say 3? 3. 3. Do you remember how to say 4? 4. 4. And how to say 5? 5. 5. Do you remember how to say 6? 6. 6 and how to say 7 7 7 Do you remember how to say 8 8 8 and how to say 9 9 9 Do you remember how to say phone number? 電話番号 電話番号 and how to say my 私の 私の Do you remember how to say my phone number? 私の電話番号私の電話番号 and how to say my phone number is 070-0999-4198私の電話番号は070-0999-4198です私の電話番号は070-0999-4198です
Great! So in this lesson, you learned how to give your phone number in Japanese with a basic pattern, and you learned the vocabulary words you need to do so. That means we covered all the numbers you need to give your phone number in Japanese. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Alicia, and I will see you again on JapanesePod101.com. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to look at how to talk about family members in Japanese. Let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at the vocabulary. The vocabulary for this lesson is a list of family member words. Important to note for this lesson is that the vocabulary here consists of words that we use when we're speaking directly to our family members. So when we're at home, for example. Okay, let's go one by one. First is chichi, chichi, father, chichi, father. Then we have haha, mother, haha, mother. Next is ane, ane, which means older sister, ane. Next is imoto, imoto, which means younger sister. This is important to note, this difference. There is a different word for older sister and younger sister. Ane and imoto. Okay, next is ani, ani. This means older brother, ani, and ototo, ototo, which means younger brother. So this is important to note. In Japanese, there are separate words for older brother, younger brother, and older sister and younger sister. Okay, next is musume, musume. This means daughter, musume, daughter. Next is musuko, musuko, which means son, musuko. Okay, next is oto, oto, which means husband, oto. So you'll see this small tsu here. That means we need to stop in the middle of the word. So not oto, but oto, oto, which means husband. Finally, we have tsuma, tsuma. This means wife, tsuma. So these are the key vocabulary words for this lesson. Okay, let's take a look at the dialogue for this lesson. First, we see this question. これは誰ですか?これは誰ですか?これは誰ですか? Which means, who is this? The answer, これは夫です. これは夫です。これは夫です。This is my husband. これは夫です。So, in this dialogue, we see in red the family member name. Let's talk next about some other examples and the basic pattern that you can use to make sentences like these. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of other examples that we can use to talk about our family members. First is this sentence. これは兄です。これは兄です。これは兄です。Which means, this is my older brother. In this sentence, in red, we see ani, which means older brother. これは兄です。Let's look at the second example sentence here. これは娘です。これは娘です。Which means, this is my daughter. これは娘です。This is my daughter. Okay, last, let's take a look at the basic pattern that you can use to create your own sentences. Okay, last, let's take a look at the basic pattern that you can use to create your own sentences like these. Here, we see これは plus family member です。これは family member です。This pattern creates this type of sentence. This is my family member. So, in the part of the sentence, in red here, that says family member, choose one of these words that we talked about earlier. これは family member です。We see this pattern in all of these example sentences. これは兄です。これは娘です。And so on. So you can use this to talk about your family members.
Do you remember how to say husband? 夫 夫 and how to say this? これ これ Do you remember how to say this is my husband? これは夫です。これは夫です。And how to say wife? 妻妻 Do you remember how to say father? 父父 And how to say mother? 母母 Do you remember how to say older brother? 兄兄 And how to say younger brother? 弟弟 Do you remember how to say older sister? 姉姉 And how to say younger sister? 妹妹 Do you remember how to say son? 息子息子 And how to say daughter? 娘娘
Great! In this lesson, you learned about family member words in Japanese and a basic pattern that you can use to talk about your family members. I hope that you enjoyed this video. My name is Alicia, and I will see you again in another video on JapanesePod101.com. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about your occupation in Japanese. Let's get started. Okay, Let's begin by looking at the vocabulary for this lesson. Let's start over here. Let's go down the list and take a look at each word and how to pronounce it naturally. First is gakse. Gakusei. Gakse. This word, gakse, means student. Student. A pronunciation point about this word, it's not gakusei, but gakse. Gakse. So this u sound is very, very quick and soft. Gakse will make it sound natural. Next is keisatsukan. 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 Keisatsukan means it sounds a lot like the English word barista, right? So this one is hopefully easy to remember. Barista. Make sure you have this one in here though, this u syllable. Barista. Barista. Okay. Next, these are two words actually that can be used to refer to the same occupation. They are sensei, sensei, and kyoshi, kyoshi. So sensei and kyoshi can both be used to refer to a teacher. So one point about the word sensei, I think maybe lots of people are familiar with this word. Typically, when someone is a teacher, they don't refer to themselves as sensei. Typically, this is a title. Other people call their teachers sensei. We typically don't say it for ourselves. So for example, if you wanted to talk about me, you might use my name plus sensei, but I wouldn't say I'm a sensei. So keep this in mind. When you're talking about your profession, you can say kyoshi. So I'm a kyoshi would be I'm a teacher. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Isha. Isha. This means doctor. Isha. Isha. Next is shoboshi. Shoboshi. So in this word, we have these two long vowel sounds. Shoboshi. This word means firefighter. Firefighter. So make sure this oop and this oop, these long sounds, are clearly pronounced. So not shoboshi, but shoboshi to exaggerate. Shoboshi. Okay. Next is kaishain. 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 This means office worker or company employee. So maybe you know the word kaisha. Yeah? Kaisha means company. And in can be used to mean person or member of that thing. So kaishain means office worker or company employee. Kaishain. This is a very common word. Next is kangoshi. 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 Kangoshi means nurse. Nurse. So someone who provides care. A kangoshi. Next is shefu. Shefu. You can see this word, like barista, is also in katakana, a loan word, shefu. So shefu means, as you might expect, chef. Chef. So someone who prepares food is a chef. Shefu. The next word is also in katakana, engineer. Engineer. So engineer means engineer. Engineer. So make sure you pronounce this with the Japanese pronunciation, not engineer, but engineer. So this part maybe at the end is a little bit different from the English pronunciation. Not near, but nia. Nia. Yeah? Engineer. Engineer. Okay. Next is kaikeishi. Kaikeishi. This one, kaikeishi, means accountant. Accountant. So kaike-shi. Accountant. This word has these e sounds as well. Don't forget to pronounce those clearly. Kaikeishi. Kaikeishi means accountant. Finally, our last word here is ginkoin. Ginkoin. So ginkoin means bank employee. bank employee. So this one has this long O sound in it, yeah? Right here. So not ginko, but ginko. Make this U sound clearly. Ginkoin. In this word, we also have this in sound I talked about earlier with kaishain. So it's like saying member of a bank or person in a bank. Ginkoin. Okay, so these are the vocabulary words we're going to look at for this lesson. Next, let's take a look at some dialogue examples that use these vocabulary words. Okay, now let's take a look at some dialogue examples that use this vocabulary. First, let's start here. 会社員ですか?会社員ですか?いいえ、会社員ではありません。学生です。いいえ、会社員ではありません。学生です。So, this means, are you an office worker? 会社員ですか? No, I'm not an office worker. I'm a student. いいえ、会社員ではありません。学生です。So let's break this down. 会社員 here in the question means office worker. Plus we have ですか, which means are you in this case. Are you an office worker? We follow this with no. いいえ、会社員ではありません. This is a polite way to say I am not that thing. いいえ、会社員ではありません. No, I'm not an office worker. 学生です. I'm a student. So, let's continue on to look at a few more examples that use slightly different variations on the first sentence. We could reply with the same pattern, but with different vocabulary words in this position. For example, いいえ、学生ではありません。警察官です。いいえ、学生ではありません。警察官です。Which means, no, I'm not a student. I'm a police officer. So in this sentence, 学生 is in this position. No, I'm not a student. いいえ、学生ではありません. In this position we have 警察官, which means police officer. So, no, I'm not a student. I'm a police officer. Okay, let's look at one more example. いいえ、弁護士ではありません。研究者です。いいえ、弁護士ではありません。研究者です。So in this sentence, we have 弁護士 in this position, lawyer. This means, no, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a 研究者, researcher. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a researcher. So we can change the occupation in these parts to reference your true occupation. Let's take a look at a basic pattern that you can use to create sentences like these for your own occupation. Okay, let's look at a sentence pattern you can use to talk about your own occupation. The basic pattern that we've been using in this lesson is いいえ, occupation A ではありません. Occupation B です. So, what does this mean? It means, no, I'm not occupation A, I'm occupation B. So when someone asks you a question, like for example, 会社員ですか? or 学生ですか? If it's not true, you can say いいえ、会社員ではありません or いいえ、学生ではありません. No, I'm not that thing. No, I'm not a 会社員. No, I'm not a company worker. Or no, I'm not a student. And then in the following sentence, you respond with your actual occupation. 弁護士です. I'm a lawyer. Or 研究者です. I'm a researcher. So you can also use this part of the pattern to just introduce yourself. So when you introduce your name, for example, you can follow up just with this pattern to share your occupation. 研究者です. I'm a researcher. Or 弁護士です. I'm a lawyer. So this pattern can be used to respond and correct someone, or this part of the pattern can be used to introduce your own occupation.
Do you remember how to say office worker? 会社員 会社員 and how to say I'm not an office worker. 会社員ではありません。会社員ではありません。Do you remember how to say no? いいえ。いいえ。And how to say no, I'm not an office worker. いいえ、会社員ではありません。いいえ、会社員ではありません。Do you remember how to say student? 学生。学生。And how to say I'm a student? 学生です。学生です。Do you remember how to say no, I'm not an office worker, I'm a student? いいえ、会社員ではありません。学生です。いいえ、会社員ではありません。学生です。And how to say police officer? 警察官。警察官。Do you remember how to say lawyer? 弁護士。弁護士。And how to say researcher? 研究者。研究者。Do you remember how to say barista? バリスタ。バリスタ。And how to say doctor? 医者。医者。Do you remember how to say firefighter? 消防士。消防士。And how to say teacher? 先生 or 教師。先生 or 教師。Do you remember how to say nurse? 看護師。看護師。And how to say chef? シェフ。シェフ。Do you remember how to say engineer? エンジニア。エンジニア。And how to say accountant? 会計士。会計士。Do you remember how to say bank employee? 銀行員。銀行員。
Thanks for watching. I'm Alicia, and I'll see you on JapanesePod101.com. それじゃ、またね。Okay, let's take a look at the key vocabulary for this lesson. The vocabulary for this lesson is weather-related words. Let's go one by one. First is atsui. Atsui. Atsui means hot. Atsui. Next is samui. Samui. This means cold. Samui. Samui. Next is mushiatsui. Mushiatsui. This means muggy or humid. Mushiatsui. Next is ame, ame. Rainy or rain, ame. Next is yuki, yuki. This means snow or snowy, yuki. Next is kaze ga tsuyoi, kaze ga tsuyoi. This means windy, kaze ga tsuyoi. Next we have atatakai, atatakai. This means warm, atatakai. Finally is suzushi, suzushi. This means cool, suzushi. Okay, so with this vocabulary in our minds, let's take a look at a dialogue for this lesson. Okay, let's take a look at the dialogue for this lesson. Imagine this dialogue is between two neighbors who meet in the elevator. One of them says, 今日は暑いですね. 今日は暑いですね. And the other person says, そうですね. そうですね. This means, it's hot today, isn't it? 今日は暑いですね. And the reply is, it is, isn't it? そうですね. In the first sentence, we see 暑い, hot, one of our weather-related words. Let's take a look at a few more example sentences now. Okay, let's take a look at a few more example sentences. First we have 今日は寒いですね. 今日は寒いですね, which means it's cold today, isn't it? In this sentence, the weather word is 寒い, 寒い, cold. It comes before this ですね, ですね. So this です represents in English kind of the is feeling for the sentence, and this ね at the end makes it kind of a confirmation question. It's cold today, isn't it? 今日は寒いですね. Next we have 今日は蒸し暑いですね. 今日は蒸し暑いですね. So today is muggy, isn't it? If we break the parts of the sentence down. In this sentence we have 蒸し暑い, 蒸し暑い, which means muggy or humid. So this sentence means it's muggy today, isn't it? 今日は蒸し暑いですね. Finally, we have 今日は雨ですね. 今日は雨ですね, which means it's rainy today, isn't it? 今日は雨ですね. So you might think, ame, doesn't that mean rain? It can also mean rainy. Yes, we can use them in the same way. So in this context, we can imagine it as being like, it's rain today, isn't it? If you want to be super direct. But in natural English, we say, it's rainy today, isn't it? 今日は雨ですね. Okay, let's take a look at a sentence pattern you can use to create sentences like these on your own. We have 今日は weather condition ですね. 今日は weather condition ですね, which means it's weather condition today, isn't it? So in this pattern, we see 今日は marking today. Today is what we're talking about. 今日は. And then our weather condition is something that we can choose from this list of vocabulary here. So we can choose one of these words to put in this part of the sentence. 今日は暑いですね. 今日は雪ですね. Whatever you want to express, you can put it in this part of the sentence. Then you can end with ですね. Make sure to add this ね to have that kind of friendly.
I've been trying to play one of those number gate runner games. Is that one fake like all the other ones? This is completely real. Made by the developers because they saw all those fake ads they kept seeing all over social media, and they wanted to make a real game that wasn't fake. If you're tired of ads, this is the one you gotta try.
Whew, alright, we gotta get the chocolate off of these guys. Is it chocolate or is it mud? It doesn't really matter. We gotta get that power up, so we gotta stop these red guys, build our army a little bit, stop them, they're really coming in fast. We need another power up or we're not gonna survive this. Guys, this is insane. It is so cold out here, but I have not seen an ad in 3 hours. This game is ad-free, and it plays just like the fake ads you see on social media. Holy crap, that big guy's coming in really fast. Okay, power up, power up, power up. We gotta get...
Do you remember how to say hot? 暑い 暑い And how to say today? 今日 今日 Do you remember how to say it's hot today? 今日は暑いです。今日は暑いです。And how to say it's hot today, isn't it? 今日は暑いですね。今日は暑いですね。Do you remember how to say muggy? 蒸し暑い。蒸し暑い。And how to say cold? 寒い。寒い。Do you remember how to say warm? 暖かい。暖かい。And how to say cool? 涼しい。涼しい。Do you remember how to say rain or rainy? 雨。雨。And how to say snow or snowy? 雪。雪。Do you remember how to say windy? 風が強い。風が強い。
Okay, great. So now you know how to make basic small talk about the weather in Japanese. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video. Bye!
Welcome to Fun and Easy Japanese by JapanesePort101.com. Do you know the 12 most common ways to say hello in Japanese? If you don't, keep watching. Konnichiwa, Risa desu. Hi everyone, I'm Risa. In this lesson, you learn 12 ways to say hello in Japanese. This includes common greetings like how are you, good morning, good evening, and bonus phrases that are not in the English language. In this video, you learn first, the formal greetings, second, informal greetings, and finally, unique Japanese greetings. Let's start with formal greetings. You can use these in most occasions when you want to be polite. The first one is konnichiwa. This is the most common way to say hello and is used between morning and evening. Just don't use it with close friends because it's a formal phrase and would be awkward. For example, you can say, konnichiwa, o genki desu ka? Hello, how are you? Next, hajimemashite or nice to meet you. Use this greeting when meeting someone for the first time. It's formal, but you can use it in any occasion. For example, you can say, はじめまして、私は Naomi です。Nice to meet you. I am Naomi. Next is おはようございます or good morning. おはよう comes from the word 早い which means early, and the o in front makes it polite. ございます is the polite word used to end a sentence, meaning it is or there is. Here's an example. おはようございます。お元気ですか? Good morning. How are you? Next is こんばんは or good evening. こんばんは literally means this evening is, and you can use this with anyone from evening to night. For example, こんばんは寒いですね. Good evening. It is cold, isn't it? Next, お元気ですか? or how are you? O is the polite emphasizing word. Genki means in good shape. And desu ka is the polite word to put at the end of a question. Here's an example. お元気ですか? はい、元気です. In English, this translates roughly as how are you? Are you doing well? Yes, I'm good. And finally, お久しぶりです or long time no see. Use this greeting when you meet someone you haven't seen in a while. 久しぶり means after a while, and o makes it polite. This is the word used to end a polite sentence. For example, お久しぶりです。お元気ですか? Long time no see. How are you? Now, let's cover the informal greetings. Greetings that you should only use with family and friends. The first one is
ohayo or good morning. This is a casual version of ohayo gozaimasu. For example, ohayo, mada nemui. Good morning, I'm still sleeping. Next is genki or how are you? Genki is just a shortened phrase for o genki desu ka? For example, genki kawarinai? How are you? Are you all good? Next, saikin dou or what's up? How is it going recently? Saikin means recently and dou is how. If you want to make it formal, just add desu ka at the end. Saikin dou desu ka? For example, 最近どう？彼女と順調？ What's up? Are you doing well with your girlfriend? Next, 久しぶり or it's been a while. 久しぶり is an informal greeting and is a very common way to say hello. When you see someone again after a while, for example, 久しぶり、会いたかった。It's been a while. I wanted to see you. Finally, let's do unique Japanese greetings. These are greetings that don't exist in English language and are used on special occasions. First, いらっしゃいませ or welcome. いらっしゃいませ is formal and is only used in stores or restaurants to greet and welcome customers and guests. You likely won't have to use it, but you will hear いらっしゃいませ a lot. Here's an example. いらっしゃいませ、何名様ですか? Welcome. How many are you? Next, もしもし or hello when answering the phone. もしもし is only used on the phone, whether you're calling or answering the phone. For example, もしもし、私は田中です。鈴木さんはいますか? Hello, I'm Tanaka. Is Mr. Suzuki there? And finally, お疲れ様です or well done, hello or bye. お疲れ様です is a formal term and is a very useful phrase to use at work. You can use it to say well done, good job, bye, and even hello. For example, when leaving the office, you can say this to coworkers that are still working. お疲れ様です。お先に失礼します。In English, this roughly translates to good work today. Please excuse me for leaving before you. In this lesson, you learned 12 ways to say hello in Japanese. But if you want to speak even more Japanese and learn in the fastest, easiest, and most fun way, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Get our complete learning program with real lessons by real teachers. That's it for today. See you next time. またね. Welcome to Fun and Easy Japanese by JapanesePod101.com. What's the best way to say sorry in Japanese? Can you just say すみません? Or should you instead say 申し訳ありませんでした and bow? You're about to find out. こんにちは、リサです. Hi everyone, I'm Risa.
And I'm Alicia.
In this lesson, you'll learn 10 ways to say sorry in Japanese.
You'll also learn when to use each one and what kind of body language to use. In particular, you'll learn 3 formal ways to apologize, 3 extremely deep and polite ways to apologize, and 4 informal ways to apologize.
Let's start with 3 common ways to apologize formally.
You can use these at work, restaurants, shops, or other places of business. And you use them with people you're not close to, or in situations where professional relationships exist, like between employees and managers, or customers and staff. When using the following words, the common gesture to make is to place both of your arms and hands straight along your body, or place one of your hands in front of your lower belly, covering it with your other hand. You then slightly tilt down, like when you bow. With any of these, you should also make a sorry expression with your face and your head. Please remember that body language is important. If you don't come across as sincere, you risk making the situation even worse.
Let's now go over what to say. The first way to say sorry is すみません. I'm sorry. すみません。すみません。
This is the most common way to say sorry in Japanese. It means I'm sorry or excuse me, but it can also mean thank you in some cases. This may be difficult to understand, but in Japan, when other people do us a favor, we feel sorry for using their time and effort, so we're thankful for it.
You can say すみません when you bump into someone on the street, or when you spill a glass of water and the waitress has to clean it up. Let's look at some examples. すみません、水をこぼしてしまいました。I'm sorry, I spilled the water. すみません、水をこぼしてしまいました。すみません、水をこぼしてしまいました。As an example of saying, excuse me, すみません、切符はどこで買えますか？ Excuse me, where can I buy a ticket? すみません、切符はどこで買えますか？すみません、切符はどこで買えますか？ And as an example of saying thank you, すみません、ポケットから落ちたのに気づきませんでした。Thank you, I didn't notice it fell from my pocket. すみません、ポケットから落ちたのに気づきませんでした。すみません、ポケットから落ちたのに気づきませんでした。The next way to say sorry is すみませんでした。I am very sorry. すみませんでした。すみませんでした。This is the past tense of すみません, and it is considered more serious since it sounds more formal and polite. Unlike すみません, this phrase doesn't have the meaning of excuse me or thank you. Suppose you broke a glass at the restaurant, you could then say, グラスを壊してしまいすみませんでした。I'm sorry for breaking the glass. グラスを壊してしまいすみませんでした。グラスを壊してしまいすみませんでした。And lastly, the third way is 失礼しました。I'm sorry for my mistake. 失礼しました。失礼しました。This is another formal way to say sorry. 失礼 literally means impoliteness, rudeness, or bad manners. And so the phrase means I was rude or I had bad manners. You can use it the same way as すみませんでした。And if you want to say it more politely, you can use the more respectful いたしました instead of しました。For example, if you ordered miso ramen, but the waiter brought you the wrong dish, he might say, 失礼しました。すぐに味噌ラーメンをお持ちします。I'm sorry, I will bring miso ramen as soon as possible. 失礼しました。すぐに味噌ラーメンをお持ちします。失礼しました。すぐに味噌ラーメンをお持ちします。Or you might hear an employee at a store say, 間違った商品の値段をお伝えしまして失礼いたしました。I'm sorry that I told you the wrong price of the product. 間違った商品の値段をお伝えしまして失礼いたしました。間違った商品の値段をお伝えしまして失礼いたしました。Now, let's move on to part 2. 3 of the deepest and most polite ways to apologize in Japanese. These next 3 phrases are quite serious and should be used when you've done something really bad. In order to show seriousness and sincerity, adverbs such as 非常に greatly, 大変 terribly, or 誠に truly are often added in front of the following phrases as well.
When you say these, place both of your arms and hands straight along your body and bow 60 degrees forward with your head and face down. If the situation is more serious, bow 90 degrees instead. The angle of the bow shows the level of severity.
In the case of an extremely severe situation, you can express your seriousness by performing dogeza. Dogeza involves kneeling down on both of your knees with your hands placed on the ground, prostrating yourself with your forehead touching the floor. In daily life, dogeza is hardly ever used unless you run over someone with your car and are going to apologize to the victim's family. The first phrase is 申し訳ありませんでした. I am terribly sorry. I sincerely apologize. 申し訳ありません. 申し訳ありません. The word 申し comes from the honorific word 申す, which means to say. In the form of kenjogo or humble language, when you say it, you lower your rank below that of the person you are speaking to. Wake means reason, ありません means there is no, and でした makes the past tense. The phrase therefore literally translates to there was no reason or excuse to say for what I have done. Let's use it in some examples. To their boss, someone might say, 会議に遅刻してしまい誠に申し訳ありませんでした. I am truly sorry that I came late for the meeting. 会議に遅刻してしまい誠に申し訳ありませんでした. 会議に遅刻してしまい誠に申し訳ありませんでした. Or, if you bought an item which you later found was broken, a store employee might say, 大変申し訳ありませんでした. We are terribly sorry. I humbly apologize. 大変申し訳ございませんでした. お詫び申し上げます. 大変申し訳ございませんでした. お詫び申し上げます. And lastly, let's go over informal apologies.
You can use these words with family, friends, and people you know very well. These words are used in situations where you did something wrong, but it wasn't that bad. You don't need to use gestures for these kinds of apologies, but in some cases, for instance, people might casually put their palms together in front of their face.
The first informal way to say sorry is ごめん. Sorry. ごめん. ごめん. The word ごめん originally meant forgive or pardon, and it was used when politely asking for forgiveness. Nowadays, it just means sorry, and if you want to say it in a cute or affectionate way, you add ne to the end, as in ごめんね sorry ごめんねごめんね Let's look at an example involving a couple. Male version ごめん俺が悪かった Sorry I was bad. Female version ごめんね私も Sorry me too. The next word is 失礼 Sorry excuse me. 失礼失礼失礼 is the short and casual version of 失礼しました from the beginning of this video. The word can also be used as excuse me. As an example, suppose you are passing through a group of friends, you could say 失礼通るよ Sorry let me pass. 失礼通るよ失礼通るよ A third casual way to say sorry is with the word 悪い my bad 悪い悪い It literally means bad, but in this case, you can use it to mean my bad. It sounds a little rough, so this word is used mainly by men. Imagine a boyfriend is late for dinner at a restaurant. He could say 悪いちょっと遅れる先に行って何か頼んでて Sorry, I'll be a bit late. You can go first and order something. 悪いちょっと遅れる先に行って何か頼んでて悪いちょっと遅れる先に行って何か頼んでて And lastly, we have ごめんなさい I am sorry ごめんなさいごめんなさいごめんなさい is a more polite version of ごめん It is considered informal, but in some cases this phrase can be used in semi-formal occasions as well. Here's an example sentence. ごめんなさい、お母さんのパソコン壊しちゃった。I'm sorry, I broke mom's computer. ごめんなさい、お母さんのパソコン壊しちゃった。ごめんなさい、お母さんのパソコン壊しちゃった。But if you want to offer a deep apology in an informal situation, you can add 本当に or truly in front of ごめんなさい. It also looks more polite and sincere when you hold your hands in front of your lower belly or put your palms together in front of your face. 本当にごめんなさい。君に借りた本をなくした。I'm very sorry. I lost the book I borrowed from you. 本当にごめんなさい。君に借りた本をなくした。本当にごめんなさい。君に借りた本をなくした。And that's it. In this lesson, you learned 10 ways to say sorry in Japanese across all formality levels.
But if you want to speak even more Japanese and learn in the fastest, easiest, and most fun way, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Get our complete learning program with real lessons by real teachers. That's it for today. Want to learn Japanese fast with PDF cheat sheets? You can get cheat sheets for all kinds of topics: travel, hobbies, love, and much more. And you'll learn all of the must-know words and phrases for each. Click the link in the lesson description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get them.
See you next time. またね. Welcome to Fun and Easy Japanese by JapanesePod101.com. Have you ever had the dream of working and living in Japan? こんにちは、リサです. Hi everyone, I'm Risa. In this lesson, you learn all about how to find a job in Japan. I'll walk you through the whole adventure of finding work in Japan, from work ideas to foreigners' favorites, up to the best places for job hunting. In this video, you learn 1. How to look for a job online. 2. Everything you need to know about different types of jobs, from language teaching jobs to working holiday jobs. And 3. how Japanese Port 101 can help you get a job in Japan. Let's start with looking online for jobs. If you don't live in Japan, this is the best way to start your research. Finding a job in Japan is a pretty popular subject, and in Japan, international business is very important, so there are lots of websites dedicated to matching foreign workers with Japanese employees. Each one of these websites lets you search by career type, Japanese language level, location, and hours. Each website represents a different portion of Japanese companies, so make sure to try them all out. Let's start out with Gaijinport, Daijob, and Career Cross. These are three of the larger websites in terms of job listings. Gaijinport is known for having interesting blogs about life and work in Japan. And Career Cross has the Japan Salary Guide page. Daijob has over 10,000 listings, so don't forget to research the huge database. Next are Career Engine and Jobs in Japan. Jobs in Japan is a website built by an American with the intention of helping foreigners navigate the landscape of Japanese employment. And Career Engine has direct hire listings, so you can directly contact possible employers. These sites are recruitment and consulting companies. They also provide useful searchable job listings, Enrolled, and Japan Career. And last is the Japanese government's own support office, the Tokyo Employment Service Center for Foreigners. In addition to the rest, if you already live in Japan, they can help you with seminars, career counseling, and even language lessons. Now that we know about searching for jobs, let's talk about the big one, foreign language teaching. It's no secret that the majority of jobs for foreigners are language teaching related. This is the go-to profession if you cannot speak Japanese yet. The most common language to teach is English. You'll find that the majority of job listings are for native English speakers. But other languages are also taught at private schools or universities, so don't be discouraged. There are a few types of language teaching jobs. First is the JET program. This is the most famous and is run by the Japanese government, so it is a pretty safe job to pursue. But it does require a university degree and is very competitive. This job places you in Japanese schools and it has a competitive salary and benefits. Next, and perhaps the most common, are private language schools. They are numerous and range widely in student age, class sizes, salary, and hours. The biggest companies are Nova, GABA, and Ion. They have offices in almost every major city. They can provide work visas and even housing. Many classes are taught one-on-one, but there are also opportunities to teach specialized classes. For example, traveling to a corporate client and teaching a seminar to employees. Other similar private companies are ECC, Berlitz, Shane English School. Next are international schools, technical schools, and colleges. These are more specialized jobs, such as teaching medical terms or computer science in English, or simply teaching English at a higher level of difficulty for academic papers or test preparation. Also, teaching languages other than English is more common in this category. Job listings can be found on the general websites like Gaijinport or these websites that specialize in higher education listings. Now, let's talk about blue-collar jobs. Blue-collar jobs are really only available to people currently living in Japan. However, it is a great option for part-time work if you're a student. Though, we must stress, in the current system, foreign people won't be sponsored with a work visa for blue-collar jobs in Japan. General part-time work, such as restaurants or convenience stores, requires at least business level Japanese because you will deal with customers or your Japanese coworkers. But some jobs are open to beginners and are a great way to practice. Also, it is worth mentioning that the laws may change soon because of the declining labor force in Japan. So keep an eye on the news about the Japanese labor politics in the future. The Technical Intern Training Program is a government sponsorship to learn Japanese trades, such as agriculture, constructions, food, textiles, etc. The training period lasts the maximum of 5 years, but this is another opportunity to start looking for other work in Japan. There are many Japanese language only websites that offer job listings such as From a Navi, Baitoru, Town Work, and My Navi Baito. Now, onto office jobs. Office jobs in Japan usually require business level Japanese because you will communicate with your coworkers, colleagues, and bosses. Also, you will need to deal with other companies and clients. It is important to understand the differences between office culture in Japan and other countries. Japanese work and corporate culture put equal value on trust and relationship as they do on work performance. Understanding this will help you succeed in the Japanese corporate world. Here are a couple websites to get you started on your search for an office job in Japan. Both Hayes and Robert Walters are British-funded companies that specializes in highly skilled international recruiting. Hayes deals with a large variety of careers, such as IT, human resources, and finance, while Robert Walters is focused on technology fields. How about being a health professional in Japan? It is extremely difficult to work as a health professional in Japan, just because you will need to speak fluent Japanese, and also have a nursing or doctor's qualification in your own country. If you're a qualified nurse or care worker from Indonesia, the Philippines, or Vietnam, there's a governmental program for working in Japan. Next, what is this working holiday visa that you might have heard of? If you're a citizen of these countries, then you can apply for a working holiday visa. There are some restrictions, such as being under 30